Hello class, so today we'll be going over a quiz review for recursive formulas and explicit formulas and how to find between them. And first we will go over a list of sequences and if we're given something like this, what to do in those regards. First, let's take a look at a sequence number 13 and sequence number 15, if we were to call that 15, and we'll call this 16 for now. Okay, so the reason why I'm giving you these two is because you should be able to identify for me that this is going to be arithmetic and this is going to be geometric. What I like to always do is I like to start off with a recursive formula first and then a explicit formula second, or you could do explicit formula first. It really depends on whichever you feel more comfortable with. Now for recursive formula, the reason why I want to do this first is because it's actually quite easier for me to do. All I notice is that it's adding 10 from each subsequent terms. So then, preceding terms. So what that means is that my a sub n would be my previous term plus 9, and that's it. My explicit formula, my a sub n is equal to, remember it's a sub 1, 21 plus common difference times n minus 1. This formula we have been talking about since 2 weeks ago. Okay? Now for geometric sequences, let's write recursive and let's write explicit. So for both of these guys, what we're going to have here is that the recursive formula is that it's going to be multiplied by -5 each time. Okay, that is going to be the common ratio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a sub n is equal to the previous term, whatever a sub n minus 1 is, and I'm going to take that and multiply by -5. That is simply what recursive formula is going to be. Explicit formula, you should know that the formula is a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times common ratio to the n minus 1 power. So, if I were to apply that rule here, first term times the common ratio of -5 raised to the power of n minus 1. And that's going to be it. Now what I would like you to do is I would like you to take some time to finish up 14 and 16 on your own. Make sure you write down the recursive formula and the explicit formula for both of these sequences. Once you're done, play the video again and verify the answer with me. Okay, so for the recursive formula in the arithmetic sequence, you should know that it's going to be subtracted by 6 each time. I'm sorry, minus 5 each time. No, I don't know why I'm mistaking that mistake. It's minus 4. So a sub n is equal to a sub n minus 1 minus 4. The explicit formula would be the first term minus the common difference times n minus 1. For geometric sequence, you should see that it's going to be multiplied by 3 each time. So recursive formula a sub n is equal to a sub n minus 1 times 3, where explicit would be 2 times 3 to the n minus 1 power. You will get a question like this where I'm giving you the sequences and I ask you to find explicit formula and recursive formula. So this would be a test, this would be a quiz questions, and I hope you can do this just like how we have been able to do it here. Now for the next two questions, what I would like you to do is I would like you to see a recursive formula and translate that into explicit, or look at the explicit and translate to the recursive. But for both of these, you have what we call find the next 4 terms. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply use the recursive formula to find out what's really happening. This, it turns out that it's going to be adding 6 to the preceding term. That's what it's going to be. So the next 4 terms after 0 would be 6, 12, 18, 24. And if I'm given the sequence of arithmetic, I should be able to translate that into explicit quite easily. And the way to do that is I take my a sub n and use my first term, which is 0, plus the common difference 6 times n minus 1. And that would be my explicit formula, and that's it. For my second, I have a explicit formula, 3 times n minus 1. So I am going to use that to find out what my next 4 terms in the sequence would be. Now remember, I need to find out when the n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, and n is equal to 5. If I plug those numbers in accordingly, so 1 times 3 minus 1, that's 3 minus 1, which is 2. When I plug in 2 here, I get a 5. When I plug in 3 there, I should get a 7. Notice how all of these questions, all of these sequences, it cannot be really expressed well when you're using a recursive formula, because this is not an arithmetic nor this is geometric. But you can see how, oh, I'm sorry, this is 8. That's my apologies. Oh, so this is simply just arithmetic sequence. 12 minus 1 should be 11, and 15 minus 1 should be 14. So every single time I'm adding by 3. So I understand it's arithmetic, and to find the recursive formula, I just need my common difference of adding 3's each time. So it'll be a sub n is equal to a sub n minus 1 plus 3, where you have to define what a sub 1 is. A sub 1 is 2. Just like how for the recursive formula, they tell you what the first term is, you need to be able to identify what the first term is and then tell me the formula there. So the entire picture of the recursive formula should be 2 lines instead of just being 1 line like the explicit formula would be. So this would be my final answer, both of these together. Okay, so hope this video helped. Make sure you understand how to do this table, and I'm going to give you 2 questions related to these things, and that's going to be it for quiz today. Thank you and have a good day.